Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I've got to tell you, I believe that the departure of Valerie after so many years of leading and friendship and insight and work and development marks the end of an era for us doing IT here at New York Presbyterian. I would say certainly we are in much better shape given all the work that she did, but we will feel her loss both professionally and personally, which is why I think it's so wonderful that Arwen decided to invite Valerie to have a Bits-N-Bytes with her on one of her last days here. And so I'd like to thank you for that, Arwen, and the work that you do, but mostly thank Valerie for everything that she's meant to all of us here. And with that, I'm looking forward to seeing this just as much as you all are. So, Arwen, are you?
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Arwen. So I am the host and I guess the founder of Bits-N-Bytes. Just want to say a little bit about Bits-N-Bytes. So we've come a long way since, I don't know, I guess we started 3 years ago. This is like, you know, the first event, Bits-N-Bytes, and then we've kind of branched off to other things. And you know, we have like more people to help us with this, and that was a team of people to make this happen. So the other thing is 60 seconds. I know you guys seen 60 seconds is all around, posted all around, and that's kind of just going around different campuses, getting to know everyone. It's such a big IT department, so it helps to kind of see the facility and meet the people that you may never meet, like, because you're always communicating over the email or on the phone. So that's 60 seconds. That's hosted by Katrin. I don't know if Katrin is here. And then this year we just introduced a new segment called Spotlight. Spotlight is a digital column that we do. We feature once a month. We feature a staff member from the hospital, because I think there's just so much talent and just diversity in the hospital, and it's very important to spotlight people all over the department. And so one of the teammates is Al, who's always he's behind the camera. He's always camera shy, so that's why he's behind the camera. So if you want to raise your hand, Al. Wait, everyone. And he's one of the team that heads up Spotlight, which is our new digital column. And the other team member is Nazia. You guys probably seen her face. So if you want to stand up and wave to the crowd. That's Nazia. So they may tap you to do a spotlight and answer some tough questions. But I think this Bits-N-Bytes is it's a little mixed emotions, because it's Val's first Bits-N-Bytes, but it's also her last, because as you guys know, after 30 years of service, she will be leaving MIT. But 30 years, I was thinking 30 years is actually a long, long time. Think about it. Not that she's old at all. It's just a long time being at one place, right? So I'm thinking 30 years, what does that mean? It's actually, or 30 years will be 10,950 days at NYP. And if you want to fact check me, I use a calculator, I checked. That also means it's about
leap years.
I knew someone was gonna. That also means 13,000 of system outage calls. By the way, 80% of that was probably from Allscripts. which also resulted in probably 2 years of lost sleep, 2,300 emergency tickets, right? Sitting in over 1,500 hours of change management meetings, and that's before it turned into an hour-and-a-half meeting. The many miles traveled back and forth from one campus to another, and the number of times she's actually survived the 38th Street shuttle to Cornell. And of course, the endless and countless vendor meetings, and of course, eating enough and more than enough. Anyone want to eat Guy Gaillard sandwiches? But of course, there's many positives, right? There's countless friends that she's met over the years, countless number of problems she's helped solve, both technical and people. The number of times she's heard Aurelia curse. And of course, the amount of people's careers she's helped shape. So with that, please make some noise for Miss Valerie Punnett.
Hey. Oh, thank you very much.
Talk closer.
Oh, sorry. He needs a new mic. So, one, I wanted to say thank you very much. 30 years, it feels long, but it's not that long because I don't want to tell my age. But it's been great, and basically, I'm happy to have spent a large percentage of my life here, and meeting and getting to know people who are here today and who have left is special to me. And so one of the things that I think about as the week is coming upon me is just gonna miss the people. Like, I've given out my personal email, my cell phone number is gonna stay the same, and on Monday, February 6th, you'll probably get a call from me. You probably hear me on the 8:30 call. You're like, what are you doing? But I'm going to try to refrain from joining and try to, take some time for myself and just, I started working right after school and I haven't had a break. So I think it's about time. It's the right time, a new chapter. And, I'm hoping and praying that I find people as kind and friendly as you guys are in my new endeavor, whenever that starts. But that's my plan.
Well, thank you. She answered all my questions. Thanks,
I'm sorry. Well, I'm not really good with following the script.
No, so wow, 30 years. So this is your couple of days, and then you're off to sunny Florida, right?
Sunny Florida, and then I have 2 weeks in Jamaica. So thanks. Speak louder than I do. So February 7th, I fly to Florida to finally spend some time in my house that I've had for 2 years in Jacksonville, and really haven't spent more than a long weekend there. So I think it's time.
I know you always dread. I always say, hey, you should be a guest on Bits-N-Bytes, and you always kind of say, she gives me this look that I'm like, all right, I probably shouldn't ask her again. But now that she's leaving, so it's fine. So, what's one word that you would describe your career at NYP?
I would say, it's been great. Just again, I'm going to focus. It's not about the projects. It's not about the problems. It's about the people. I know you mentioned how many hours of problem calls, but you get to know people on those calls when we're have dead air and people are, the techs are actually doing the work, and you sometimes say, hey, what do you plan for vacation? Or, you hear this past Saturday, you hear people's kids, playing in the background, and you realize, Jeff Rodriguez has kids, and you might not have known that before. So I think just this is a great place to work. It always has been. I think the goal is to definitely promote and recognize people who have talent, and it is from every level of the organization. So it's a team effort, and so people should remember that if you're a director, you can't do it by yourself, right? You need your manager, you need your frontline staff, you need the environmental service person who's cleaning the office for you, you need the food service people who are bringing the food to you when you're working extra hours. So it's a team effort, and don't forget that. I think that's the most important thing you should remember.
Yeah, just we were at 168th Street last week, and we talked to some folks, and they said that what they remember most about you is you would be the VP or the director, and you would speak to the person. You would know the name of the person cleaning out the garbage. You come in and say, hey, hey John, and there's just those things where those people things where if everyone is a person, everyone is on the same level, just down to earth. I mean, that's your approach.
Everyone counts. I mean, I really truly believe that. And I think, to be a team member, you have to play a part. There were times, and Leo would know, I wasn't the most technical person in the team, but if it meant that I have to go out and, bring a whole bunch of windy burgers back to our site on 168th Street, then that's what I'm gonna do, because then I play a part in that team. And so you have to remember that, and I think definitely staying true to yourself. Like, remember, a lot of us have started at the front line and have been promoted and advanced their careers. And so remember where you come from, right? Remember that everyone sometimes needs a chance to show the skills that they have. And so just try to remember that as you're giving people opportunities, as you're hiring people. I think that's very important.
So can you share with us your first kind of experience as a leader? And when do you think at one point you're like, wow, okay, I'm a leader? Like, when does that come? Is that like one day, you wake up, you're like, damn, I'm a leader? Is that something like that? I don't know.
So I guess that's a tough question, because actually I still don't feel like I'm a leader. I feel like I'm part of a team. And so it's hard for me to say. I know Daniel is standing back there probably saying, what are you saying? You're a vice president, you should say you're a leader. But I honestly feel there's a host of us that can lead, as long as you remember that you need a team to do that. And if you have a team, that team will take you wherever and follow you wherever you go. And that's important. And to me, that's a leader, right? When I can call someone at any time of the day and say, I need help. And they're not doing it because of a paycheck or because, someone else is telling them to do it. It's because they feel that, one, I'm not gonna call you because, just because, and two, because I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to help you, to help me, to help the institution. And I think that's important. And I feel like, and I've not had one person from all of the groups within IT ever say to me, no, I can't help.
That's a great answer. So, a lot of times as you move up in the ranks, you become more strategic, more managerial, less hands-on. Did you miss kind of that, being hands-on? And I kind of asked this question because this past year, Val and I worked really closely, and then building the Sim Squad, and we couldn't wait to get on these calls, and regardless what hour of the day, she was the first one on the call, and we're like, why? Like, you were just on a 6-hour call. Why aren't you sleeping? She's on the call. So I kind of felt like maybe she really likes it. So did you kind of miss being like hands-on, through all those years of managing large teams, and kind of just, hey, I can't wait to get my hands down and dirty to do that?
I would say yes. I missed it. Having a very, very large team. At one point I had over 400 people reporting up to me. And, I felt at that time I wasn't doing a great job, right? I couldn't pay attention to each individual group. I try to give as much time as I could to my directors to give them coaching, guidance, and so forth. And definitely working with the leadership team, trying to think strategically and figuring out, what's our next step to meet the goals of the hospital. But when I took over the Sim Squad, it was like heaven. And it was a lot of problems and a lot of calls, but it just felt good to know that we're still playing a part. We're still helping the institution. We're helping the department try to reduce the amount of problems and so forth. But it felt good to just be in there and try to strategize on how to solve the problem, making sure we had the right people on the calls. And so I was energized. I was energized in regards to, so there was a 6-hour call, and then, we thought we had a break, and 2 hours later there was another call. And then I just felt like, yeah, this is great. Let's get on here. Let's try to solve it as quickly as possible. And it felt good. So yes, I missed operations. Even I'm pretty sure Joe could say, you know, Joe is now in charge of the Sim Squad, but I still get on the calls. You know, and I'm trying to refrain from like giving my input and leading the call because I like that. I just like to kind of bring the team together and then try to help to solve a problem.
Can you share with us, so, you know, over your large amount of time that you've worked at NYP, I don't want to say 30 years, keep saying 30 years.
They already have it on the sign everywhere, so
it is everywhere. But can you tell us what name one of your biggest challenges or one of your even failures in the hospital, and what did you learn from that?
I would say one of the failures for me is at one point I was promoting and giving additional responsibilities to a director where I knew they probably would fail, and I just was following instructions and I did it, and that to me was a failure because I should have stood up for that person and said they can't handle it and try to help them or try to, you know, get someone else to do the job, and I did not do that. And then ultimately we had to let that person go, and I felt like that was my fault because I should have, I recognized the issue and I just kind of dismissed it and moved on, you know, based on what my boss was asking me to do. And I think, you know, not standing up for my staff was a failure.
Wow, that's a big, I mean, lessons learned, I guess, right? I mean, that's where you're able to, I guess, next time around, it's where you're able to.
So yes, I've learned from that. So yes, I've learned from that, and you know, and again, that's a lesson for everyone, right? So anyone who's in a management position should, you know, try to learn your staff, learn the people, understand their skill sets, understand, you know, their ability, what can they do, what can't they do, and try to bring it to their attention. So I think they recognize it too, but have that discussion, have that dialogue, and then try to get them coaching and not try to give them something that they can't handle.
So I mean, I think one of your big strengths is definitely listening, coaching, and a lot of people confide in you. How do you think you've got, how did you develop your leadership style? Because so I was at your mom's funeral,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of things that people talked about her that I could see, you know, you kind of emanate,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because she was a strong person. She was like, but you know, she took no BS, but people respected her. So I was like, that reminds me of someone. And you know, I think everyone loved her because of that. So do you think part of that is where, you know, kind of?
I would say yes, but you know, it's weird because people actually gravitate to me, but I keep saying this and everybody says no, but I'm really a loner. Like I don't have a lot of friends outside of work. I don't like crowds. If I go to a party or something, if I go to a party, I probably will be in the back of the room or on the side of the room. I'm a real introvert type of person. So I don't know how I got to be the person that everybody kind of just actually come in and want to sit down and have, you know, discussions or actually even get like advice. You know, I just don't know. It just happened. One of the things I still pride myself on is because I try to be just true to myself. Like even when I have issues with people, I try to think of it from their point of view first before getting very upset about a situation. And sometimes people just have to take a minute, and this is a little bit with problem solving also, right? You have techs who come in and just say, okay, I can do this, I can do it, and nobody's thinking like, let's just think this through first. Let's just go through the steps. Let's understand what we're doing. And let's understand how it's going to affect the users, how it's going to affect other groups. And so I think I kind of use that same thing in my personal life, just to say, you know, let me just think about what that person is feeling. And would I want to feel that way, or would I feel that way in that circumstance? And then what would you do, or how would you want to be treated in that circumstance?
Right. And I've been many times on the other side of, that table, in that chair. I always tell her she should get one of those, like, psychiatry chairs, or, it's literally, I used to sit right in front of her office, and just constant people in and out of her office, and just not people that, that works for her, just random people. I was like, do they even work for NYP? Look at their badges, above the waist, of course.
Well, that is funny, because it's really weird. Yesterday, a gentleman came to my office. He was standing there, right? And I was saying to myself, I don't know who he is. Then he says, I'm Andre, and I remember he sent the email saying someone else told him to speak to me, and he's like from the finance department. Like, still right now, I don't know really what department he's in. But he was like, Pamela Walker sent me to you, and I was
Wait,
like,
is Andre here?
and I was like, I said, okay. And so he sat down and he was telling me, what he wanted to do. He wanted to try to work in IT. And so I tried to, I called Walter and Peter and said, hey, can you talk to him? But I was like, where did you come from? Like, I've never seen him before. So it's true. I'm not sure why, but it happens.
So maybe that's your second calling.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. So through the years at NYP, what is the biggest change you've seen in IT, or just even in the hospital?
In IT, and I'm not saying this because Daniel is standing back there, but I think with Daniel's, starting, a year ago, I think just the way he recognizes the staff for the work that you guys have been doing is a great thing. Showing his appreciation for the work that the team does. So I think that's a great change. Hope, I know he's going to continue that. I see all the emails going back and forth. With the hospital, I think, I started when it was Presbyterian Hospital, and they had no money. Like, we couldn't do anything. And so I think that the hospital has grown as a enterprise, and has great leadership in regards to thinking about the future, especially financially. What I would like to see more of, and I think they're thinking of that, is again the respect and making sure and engaging the employees, because I'm glad that they're focusing on that, because again, without you guys and the rest of the employees, they're not going to make it on their own, right? The leadership is not going to make it without the staff believing in where they work, believing that patients come first. And then everything, once you believe that they believe in you, everything is going to fall in place. And I see that it's been heading in that direction. So let's just hope that they continue to focus on the staff. And as you saw the kickoff, they were focusing more on that. So I think that's a great thing.
So did you have any role models or inspirations as you were growing up and going through your career?
Actually, no. I mean, I had, no. I'm sorry to say, but I kind of just focused on myself. Like, I didn't care. There was many people who came into my office and talked about, oh, I'm a director, and this person, the next person is making this amount of money, and hey, I'm a manager, and I think I know more than the next person. And the things that I continue to say is focus on yourself, right? If you're going to do a great job, you're going to be recognized. If you don't think you're doing a great job, then communicate with your boss or whoever it is, and get an understanding of why they feel like you're not able to be promoted or put on a project. But focus on yourself. Don't focus on the next person, because you don't know the situation for the next person.
So really no self-help books, nothing? I mean, it's all actual?
Not one.
That's amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
See, I told you I didn't have a lot.
She was actually, you know, a little nervous, so she kind of came up and she's like, "Can I get a peek at those questions?" I'm like, "Don't worry, you'll be
I
fine."
said I'm not that interesting. I don't have a lot of hobbies.
Isn't she doing great? Okay, so
Yes.
to the fun questions.
Somebody knows what it is.
So what do you like to do? You know, your spare time. What do you like to do when you're not on the calls? So I don't call that fun to be on the calls. But when you're not on the calls and you're not at work, you know, what are your favorite pastimes?
Surf the internet. Sometimes my sister calls me, what does she call me? MD Val or something like that. Because every time there's an issue with anything medical, and then she started calling me about her son. Like, you know, he had club feet, and so she was asking me a whole bunch of questions. So I just went on the web and started looking at, my favorite guy. And so I didn't want to say this, but since they have it here,
Not everyone can see it, so we know what I'm going to say is she's a big
Sheldon.
Bang Theory fan.
So I didn't want to say this. I was trying to come up with something else because actually I watch every single episode of Big Bang Theory every day.
So you see every episode.
Every episode, every day. I don't watch the current season because I don't like the commercials and I don't want to wait till the next week. So I wait till the season is over and I download it on iTunes and then I binge watch for a day. And then I watch those repeats as they come on.
So you probably watched pretty much every episode and know everything about Big Bang Theory. I hear that's a
hope I do
challenge.
because I know you're going to have a challenge.
So I do have a challenge. Well, actually, yeah,
I'm going to try.
wow. So I have 10 questions here.
Oh my goodness, 10.
10 questions. Can someone, I need a participant. I need someone to 60 seconds on the clock. Is that?
Oh my goodness.
All right. 60 seconds on the clock, 10 questions. It's multiple choice.
Okay.
So it should be easier.
Okay.
So you probably have about a couple seconds to answer the question because I'm going to take a couple seconds to read you the question.
Okay.
Right? Any Big Bang Theory fans here?
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Text me the answer.
So you all know when she gets it wrong. All right, number one. All right, are we ready?
Ready?
All right, on your mark. You get set? Go. First question. What is Sheldon's middle name? Leonard, John, Lee, or Brian?
Oh my goodness.
You can pass if you want.
Well, let me try.
Leonard, John, Lee, or Brian?
Is it Lee?
Yes. Woo! Ding, ding, ding! Second question. Howard's astronaut nickname comes from which cereal? Fruit Loops, Sugar Puffs, Cheetos, or Cheerios?
Fruit Loops.
Correct. 2 for 2. In a season 6 episode, Raj and Howard spent a lot of money on a 3D printer.
Yes.
Why did they make this purchase? Sorry. To make action figures of themselves, to make fake comic memorabilia to sell to kids, to print a girlfriend for Raj, or to
Action
decorate their
figures
own.
of themselves. They came out looking like Wesley Snipes.
With commentary.
Right?
All right, 3 for 3. Oh, all right, we'll keep going. Give her another minute. Number 4. Sheldon is very dedicated to his work, but he also has outside interests and hobbies. Which one of these is one of them? Model trains, line dancing, open mic night, stand-up.
trains.
All right. 4 for 4. Which contract was made when Leonard became Sheldon's roommate? The roommate contract, the friendship agreement?
Roommate.
Wait, the friendship contract or the roommate agreement? So there's a roommate contract or roommate agreement?
Roommate.
Which one? Contract or agreement?
Agreement.
Yes. 5 for 5. All right, here we go. Which instrument does Leonard play? Saxophone, cello, trumpet, or
Cello.
guitar? All right. What is Sheldon's nickname for his mother? Smarty, Shelly, Munchkin, or Shell Shell?
No, his mother's nickname for Sheldon is Shelly.
Correct. At 7 for 7. 3 more to go, and then you have 10 for 10, and we'll see if you're a real fan. In the 4th season, Raj, working with Sheldon since early in the 3rd season, wanted to get something for the office, and Sheldon didn't want to. What item were they disagreeing over?
The desk.
8 for 8. Alright. Sheldon's World of Warcraft account was hacked in the season 4 episode, the Zornaki Incursion. What, among other things, was stolen from his account? Do I need to give you multiple choice?
I don't remember what it was
Okay.
exactly, so...
Motorcycle, Evil
No.
soundtrack,
No.
magic shoes, or his battle ostrich?
His battle...
Yes. 9 for 9. Here we go. Last question, and that'll be 10. You ready?
Yes, I am.
In season 5, Sheldon and Amy began filming a video podcast. What was it
Flags.
called? Huh?
Fun Flags or Flags of Fun, something like that.
Sheldon Cooper presents Fun with Flags. Give it up. 10 for 10.
I want a picture with that when I'm done.
He's going to Florida with it. Actually, everyone's gonna sign the back of Sheldon. So before you leave, make sure you sign it. So I know you like Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
Let's talk about music. What type of music do you like?
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Anything else? Just Michael Jackson.
Well, he's just number 1. I mean...
King of Pop.
Yeah, there you go. So.
Any particular songs that you like?
Well, there's a host of them, of course. There's hundreds, but if you think, I think about when I have conversations with people coming in my office and things like that, and I say, you know, think about yourself, or focus on yourself. I would say Man in the Mirror.
Okay, good. That's a good one.
Would definitely be number 1, and probably a lot of people know that one, but many people might not know Let Me Show You the Way, which is not necessarily, it's not Michael Jackson, it's the Jacksons, because you know they changed their names a few times, but the Jacksons CD album, if you want to call it that. So I'm not sure everybody knows that song.
I should just go back to Big Bang Theory really quick. We do actually still have some other memorabilia for you.
Okay.
So if you guys are fans,
Is it Sheldon himself? Okay.
so things that you might recognize.
Okay.
So what do we have, Lee?
Oh.
We have a pillow, which is what I.
Where we sit.
That's where I sit.
Does everybody watch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course we have the kitty cat. And it actually sings. So put it through the hair.
It sings the song?
Put it through the.
I'm sorry. If you watch it so many times, you get to know the song. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I help.
Thank you.
So we just got a couple little things, but back to the music. So
Yes.
Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror, and
Let me show you the way.
Let Me Show You the Way. Okay. So that actually segues to my next guest. We have a special guest.
Can't be Michael Jackson.
It is not. Like close. We have NYP hip hop.
Oh, okay.
We have Mr. Zach here. He has graciously offered to sing a tune
Okay.
for.
Oh my goodness. You need a mic?
you.
Uh-oh.
He doesn't need the mic.
I know on the phone calls you know you.
So Andrew and Leo asked to be my background. I told them everyone knows this song. This is a group song. It's Man in the Mirror. So on the chorus, everyone knows the chorus. I'm gonna ask you to help me join me. Okay.
All right,
So
all right.
I'll start it off. Hi, Miss Cat.
Audience participation.
This
Oh,
cat get him.
since this is a Michael Jackson song, we can't start it off without a little click. Now, if you don't have rhythm, it's okay. Just help me out. You ready? Watch me, with me. Hold on. With me. Gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. It's gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I pull the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street without enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see them weep? A summer disregard, a summer's broken heart, and one man's soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know, come on. I'm starting with the man. Come on, come on. I'm asking him to change his ways. Come on. And no could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change.
You know that. Moonwalk too. Yeah, you notice he turned the camera away from him. Wow. So if you didn't know Zach, he's actually a vocalist on the Hospital Band Off the Chart. So you gotta, check it out. It's awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for the unexpected moonwalk. I didn't know you did that. So now this is actually a part of the program where we open it up to you guys. For you guys to have any questions, make sure they're tough. See, that was the look. I was like, you want to be on Bits-N-Bytes? Give me that look. So we got a couple questions. So first I see Leo, I'm going to go ahead and do the mic.
So Val, if you can remember back 30 years ago when you first started, just go all the way back.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what was here as far as IT was concerned and what you did to change all that?
Okay. So when I started, there was the AS400. I don't know if anybody in here even knows that. There was System 36. I believe that they were moving towards System 38, which was terminals that connected back to a mini or mainframe that did word processing. There was not a network. Allen Hospital was not here. Milstein Hospital was not here. And it was Presbyterian Hospital. And I wouldn't say it was just me, but a team of people. We started working with AT&T to create a inpatient clinical system and an outpatient clinical system. It was called ISIS and OSIS, running on a 3B2 400 mid-range type of
Wow, you have a
server.
good memory.
That didn't pan out too well. Dr. Paul Clayton started the Department of Biomedical Informatics, and Sen and George Ripsack and Steve and Dominic and a whole host of different people joined the team, PhDs, and they kind of deal with IBM to do create a decision support type of application, and in conjunction with that, they gave us IBM DOS machines, and said, hey, in order for all this to connect together, you have to put in something called token ring. And so we ran token ring cables, and at the same time, Allen Hospital was being built. And then somewhere while Allen was being built, Milstein kind of came about, and they started to work on Milstein. So we ran token ring cables, which I can't even explain how big and thick it was. So we ran that, and then we had mouths all in the data center and so forth. And then they said, hey, well, in order to connect these buildings, you have to have like a central type of connection. And so we said, okay, we need fiber. And so we built a team of people who work with cablers to get the token ring cabling in, fiber connection, and that's what the infrastructure started out to be. And then, we found out, well, there's something a little bit better than token ring. There's Ethernet, and we started building a bigger team to say, let's start replacing the token ring cabling and hardware, and Windows was starting to come about, and so we were going to change our workstations to Windows devices, and so we started to build a team. And again, this is where I say, remember where you come from, right? There were people who came who were volunteers working in the data center that came to my office every single day asking to work for me. There were students who came just to walk around the buildings and identify the token ring cables that we had to replace for Ethernet cables, and they're still working here, Gam and Alfred and a whole host of people. And then, we started really focusing on the technology, and Leo and Manny led a team to think about how we can save money from using ATM, which is another technology for networking across the campuses, and started looking into dark fiber amongst, to build a ring around the city, finding a company that was based out of Germany. That was a good thing to get when we were able to go to Germany with that project. That was a good one. But they did a lot of research in regards to the company, and it's still up and running, and it saved us many times that you didn't even know that one part of the ring would go down, and it would kind of loop back and hit other pops and keep the building running. So technology definitely has changed from the time I started. We used to beg departments to join the network. Like that would be our day, focusing on going to the different departments and asking them to get off of their word processing system, and trying to join and assuring them that they would get the same type of support. There wasn't even email, right? So that's when I started. That's what we had to do. So it's great to see how far we've come, how far the people have come, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to take it to the next level in the next few years. So that's a great thing.
Can you name a team that did not work for you?
I would say, the clinical team and the financial team have never worked for me. But one portion of the clinical team, of course, the support for SCM reported to me, but
Big
all
portion.
the others, yeah. There you go, Rob.
Questions? I know someone had a question back there. Anyone?
I don't have a question. I want to tell. I don't need a mic. I think I'm loud enough. I want to tell Val that you are my first lady of IT. I feel like I'm saying goodbye to Michelle Obama. I saved the email from 2006 where I had a 5-minute interview with Valerie. I came from another place. I was in HR for a year. I wanted to come back into IT. Val gave me 5 minutes of her time, and she said, I better make it good. I guess I made an impression, so I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I believe I proved myself, and you have been an amazing leader. It's gonna be very hard to replace you. I can imagine 30 years ago as a woman of color in IT, because we're still getting there. But you have just been like an icon. So you are an amazing person. I can't believe you don't have an outside life, right? I wouldn't believe it, but you are truly, truly amazing. So thank you for everything, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, but
Thank you.
thank you.
You can't go on after that.
Hi. Hi, Val.
Okay.
What's the first thing? Oh, fine. Okay, hi.
That's Kat. You've
now
not
you
seen
finally
her.
see it.
She's our host of 60 Seconds.
What's the first thing you plan on doing when you get to Florida?
You know, for the past 2 to 3 weeks, I've had lunch, and not that I'm complaining, but I've been eating so much. Like, I try to like reduce the amount, like salads, no breakfast. So I would say the first thing I'm gonna do is try on my clothes and make sure it still fits to go to Jamaica. Because I've been eating like lunch and dinner every night, and I appreciate everyone, but I just gotta double check that my clothes can still fit. And then that Saturday, I fly out on Tuesday, and then Saturday I fly out to Jamaica for 2 weeks. So that's what I plan to do. This is gonna be my first vacation actually that I've ever taken 2 weeks, that's one. And two, that I can turn off my phone and put it in a safe, and I don't plan to take it out till I'm leaving to come back home.
Actually, can you share with us, I know we've talked about this, what you think you're gonna do when you start working again?
Well, what I would like to do that I know that I would have to actually use any brain power is work at Costco's or Walmart, checking off people's receipt as they go out. But then I said, well, you know, I started thinking, like recently there's been so many people in and out of my office, even like I mentioned, the people I don't know. I said, well, maybe I should like become a counselor or a life coach or something like that. So I'm thinking about that.
I like that Costco. So she wants to be the Costco person that checks the items as a receipt, and she would actually check every single item. So the line to leave would be longer than the line to pay. So don't go to her Costco. Zach.
So, she mentioned life coach. And one of the things about a life coach is they have to be willing to take the time to talk to you. I say that to say the first time I met Valerie, I was working on the Children's Hospital. We had just completed it. Roberta, director, was there. Valerie was there. And I said, oh, let me go speak to her. So I said, hello, how are you? My name is Zachary. And I just wanted to get to the point. That was my first conversation. So I was a contractor at the time, and I was actually trying to sell myself for a job. Somebody tells you to get to the point, I guess, you know. So anyway, later on, I would become a project lead after being a contractor, and I know, Val, you had to sign off on that, and I appreciate that to this day. There would be times where, you know, I know Val was the type of person where you could always email a call, and she'll answer the call. I've literally sat in her office, and I've had to, like, just pour it out and say, hey, Val would just listen. And she would give good suggestions. So I think a life coach would be an excellent career move for you. And I thank you for all you've done.
Oh, here we go.
I have a funny story to share. No.
What do you say?
So, it is true that Valerie is the way she is all the time. She doesn't really have much of she does have a life, but it's like a work life, even her personal life. So one day we were in Popeye's Chicken, and they had no chicken. And I turned around and she's there like supply and demand. This is a chicken place. It's 11:30. You should have chicken ready. And I turned around and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I had NYP. I mean, she just went, where's the manager? We need to get chicken in here. This is And I just walked out because I'm like, we're not getting no chicken today. And then another story, this happened 2 years ago. It was the holiday, and we're all, as a family, we get together and we say what we're thankful for, and everybody said it. and we had champagne, everybody had a drink or whatever. And she raised her glass and she goes, "To the team." Everybody was in like, "To the team? Isn't this your family?" And we were like, okay, all right, you really need to get something outside of NYP. It's taking over your life. So that's all I have to share.
Team, family, right?
Anyone else? Questions, stories you want to share? All right, so. Oh, yes, BJ.
What are you gonna miss the most about us, and what are you gonna miss the least about us?
You know, as much as I have enjoyed the operations meeting calls, BJ, and the hiccups, I think that will be the least right now. I'm definitely tired. I mean, I think I put myself in this predicament by getting all the calls, but I feel for sure I will not miss that. The most, it's you, the people. Like, I have a feeling when I get back from Jamaica, you know, I'll be calling people like, "Hey, what's going on? What's happening?" You know, like, "Look, I'm on a hiccup call. I can't speak right now." So I think that's going to be difficult for me, you know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, you know, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with myself. I do know I want to take a break, but, you know, to get up, I'm an early riser, so when I wake up, I'm like going to be like, what do I do? Maybe I still have the bridge number. Maybe I could just listen in, you know. And so don't call out who's joining or anything. You're not gonna get that from me. But definitely the people. I definitely enjoy coming into work. If, you know, one of my things is that if I find another job or when I find another job, you know, if I don't like the people, I don't know how long I'm going to stay, because that's important. You know. Gwen said, I said, you know, team when I was in a family environment, but to me, this has been my family. You know, there's certain people I know a lot more about, of course, personally, but I think overall, there's a large percentage of people I do interact with on a personal level. So I definitely will miss the people. And I know I keep saying I'm not really a people person, but I definitely will miss this team. So that's the moment. And actually sad. Because
Val personally or not much professionally, but I remember speaking with Steve Chin recently, and he told me a funny story, kind of like Zach. He was like, you know, when I first met her, she was really abrupt, and I was really scared of her for a very long time. And but he said over the years he's learned that her abruptness comes from her sincerity and seriousness to help you. Because she's also an introvert, she wants to get that meaningful connection like right away, because she wants to help you right away. So in many ways, you don't have to sell yourself, because she kind of has that connection with people already. She kind of knows. So Steve Chin was like, you know, every time I go on a call with her, like, I know she's abrupt, but I know she's trying to help me, and it's helped every time. So as society now, I want to bring it back. Back in the day when America just started, the environment was different. Leaders were built up because they had connections with people. But when there was, I read this from Susan Cain's Introvert book. That's what I know. So I'm taking credit for her. So since, like, you know, population started moving from rural communities where you knew people for such a long time and you knew them, you know, so you didn't have to like be flamboyant with each other because you knew that person. But when you have to move to corporate America, you have to compete. You have to like show off. You have to be like, I'm awesome. You know, I have to like push and sell myself. That's why it's even more important for leaders to like look deeply at the depth of the person, because that's what you need at such a high level. Figure out what really is the problem, because you don't need technical skills sometimes at that level. You need overall people. fixing capabilities. So I hope that your legacy is that people remember that the important part is when people listen to you, because you have to do your job, and that person has to help you do your job. So I'm really glad that I spoke to Steve Chen, because I didn't really know you so much, and whenever I saw you in the elevator, I was always scared because she was always serious. Thank you for your service for NYP, and I'm really glad that that's your legacy.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, you go.
First of all, thank you so much for your 3 a.m. calls with Streamline. Every time I was on, I was like, oh, Val's on, okay, and wide awake. My question is, I hear that a lot of people were able to come and line up in front of your office, but who was your best friend here, and whose office could you line up in front of or depend on?
I would say that it would be Mr. Leo Bowden on the right side of me. So I think Leo and I would say grew up together, and he was my soundboard, I think, a lot of time, and so I feel I was for him. So I would say Leo was the person. Again, just to try to think things through, again, I always try to put myself in the other person's shoes, but sometimes, the result is, oh man, maybe this is just not right. And so I want to get a second opinion, right? Like, am I thinking this through? Did I miss anything? So I would say Leo.
So we're gonna start lining up Leo's story now?
Well, I don't know. So I think everybody has a different management style. Some people don't, it's hard to, even though I say I like it and people have come into my office, it's hard to continue to do your job and complete your projects, and you have, 10 people walking into your office to tell you about their problems. So it's a difficult thing to balance. And I'm not trying to say anything about Leo, but I'm just saying that I think
He doesn't have that skill.
I don't want to put him up for failure, again, so I think you guys just, that thing about finding like a best friend at work, I believe in that, right? Like, find someone you can talk to that you can trust, and that they're going to be honest with you, right? They're not going to just sit down and hear you and say, yeah, you're right, and then go back home and say, Gwen came in my office and she was talking all this crap, and let her go do what she's going to do. She's going to get in trouble. That's not right. Be honest. Say, no, you're wrong, and this is why, and be honest with that friend. It's not just about listening to that person and saying, okay, well, whatever. No, if you're really going to listen, then listen, right? That's one thing, right? Don't ask me a question. How was your vacation? How was your this? How was your that? And you really don't care. Don't do that. Then don't ask. I'm okay with not asking me that. But if I ask you how you doing, if you take 5 minutes to answer, then I'm going to listen for 5 minutes, and I'm going to pay attention. So, that's what I believe in.
So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to particularly thank Val, for being our special guest, being his 30 years of service, and I hope it was enjoyable for you.
Actually, it was fun. Actually, I'll say that now. I don't have to kill you later. But I do want to say one thing just before you guys go. Again, I just want to emphasize again, please, one, stay true to yourself, especially managers that are leading people, and really try to, coach your team. If there's a person that's not doing well, then, be honest. This is the time right now for performance evaluation. It doesn't have to be just about, hey, you didn't do this project. It's about, how can I help you grow? What can I do? I know people feel here that there's no career path. They're stuck in their positions. I think Daniel's trying to pull people out of different groups and assigning them to different projects that might be out of your realm. If you feel like you can't do it, then you should say, I can't do it. And I know it's difficult because your boss's boss is asking you to do it, but you don't want to fail either, right? Or you ask your boss for help. How do I do this? You know, and utilize your team and be supportive of each other. Like, that's important. Try to be supportive to each other, because that's the only way you're going to succeed. So just try to remember that. Try to remember to, you know, treat people as you would want to be treated. And if you do that, you'll get the respect, and you'll get the loyalty, and just you get productivity out of people if you remember that. And remember, people have a personal life, and things happen at home that affect the way you react at work. It affects the way you actually complete your projects. And sometimes it's okay to come in and say, I have a migraine, and I've done this with my team, and I just can't have a conversation right now because I need to get myself together, right? And that's how I'm feeling now with, you know, my 30 years here. And I said, you know, I need to focus on me. I need to take some time to rebuild myself. So you should just be honest with yourself. So I think, if anything, please try to take that away, and stay true to yourself. That's my motto. Stay true.
Words of wisdom. So, you know, just personally, I want to thank you, because I've 6.5 years here. I've always worked, you know, for you. In the last year, I've worked a lot, you know, really close with you, and you know, just want to thank you for all the support. You know, I was one of the people that kind of got moved around, and you know, you were always supportive of everything I did. So I want to really thank you.
You're welcome.
And you know, don't be surprised when I ring your doorbell in Jacksonville. But we do have a little, we do have some more gifts,
Thank
flowers.
you.
And you know, we will all miss you, and we all wish you.
Thank you, guys.
So on three, can we all say go team?